Hello everyone, I'm Rob. I'm in my kitchen today. I want to share with you one of my favorite recipes. I'll be using some candy onions I grew in my garden, some homegrown herbs. This is going to be a meatloaf. I call it the Anti Meatloaf. It's for people who say they don't like meatloafs. This solves all the complaints. As always, if you like what you see here today, hit that like button. If you want to see more recipes, hit subscribe. Okay, for this recipe, you need 1.5 pounds of lean hamburger, some fresh onion, some garlic powder or some fresh garlic, some black pepper, celery salt, some thyme, basil, and parsley, 2 beef bouillon cubes, 2 eggs, some soy sauce, and some Worcestershire sauce. You also need 1 cup of very fine breadcrumbs. So this first step actually alleviates 2 of the biggest complaints people have about meatloaf. It's the big chunks of onions or other vegetables and the big chunks of breadcrumbs. So here, we're going to use those 2 in a different way. We're going to grate. I'm using a microblader. You can use whatever type of very fine grater you have. I'm going to grate this candy onion down. I grew this candy onion in my garden. So we're just going to grate it down and make a bunch of onion juice. So once you get your onion grated down, just use a small onion. I'm not going to use all of this one. You see, that makes kind of like a onion sauce or a onion apple. It looks like applesauce almost. Now you take your breadcrumbs, use really fine ones. Dump them in. We're going to mix them around with the onion sauce. And then all those breadcrumbs will pick up that onion flavor and be able to carry that flavor through the meatloaf instead of those big onion chunks that people normally have in their meatloaf. Now, next we're going to use a very lean cut of hamburger. A lot of people like to use the more fatty hamburger and have their breadcrumbs pick up the grease from the hamburger. That's not the intention of our breadcrumbs. Ours is to spread the onion flavor through and to provide a little bit thicker loaf that holds together. Then we're going to add 2 eggs. Next, you're going to want to take your beef bouillon cubes, crush them up in a bag. I just used the back of a spoon to beat them smooth. Be able to spread them out. Throw in your herbs and spices, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce. Now, you're going to want to mix that all together. getting it really thoroughly mixed. Now, you want to compress it together really well. You want it to really hold. I kind of drop it in the bowl a little hard, press it against itself. And then once you got it really mixed up and pressed together, you're going to put it in a loaf pan. These loaf pans can fit up to 2 pounds of beef, so we're going to center it so that the beef drains off any of the excess fat to both sides. I don't want to press it flat. That makes too thin of a meatloaf. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a side. On each side of the pan. Keep it the height of the loaf. It's not really going to grow. And leave some drain space. There you go. Now we're going to put this in the oven at 375 degrees for an hour. And then we're going to make a savory basting sauce to go on top of it. To make this savory glaze, we're going to use Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce, apple cider vinegar, ketchup, mustard, and brown sugar. 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And then you're going to want to stir all that together to make kind of a savory gravy. Alright, we got about 15 minutes left. I'm going to pull this out. You see where that little bit of grease is drained onto the side with that fat. Just going to dump it out into the sink. Then we're just going to take our savory baste and pour it over the top. Let it cook in that for the last 15 minutes. Okay, so when the timer goes off, you're going to want to check your meat temperature. Make sure it's at least 170 degrees. We are good to go. And there you have it.